Good evening and welcome to Mages from the Ashes, New York, Living World of Darkness. Tonight we have a scene where, today, we have a scene where Julie has just gotten done with physical training, and she's doing lots of stretches like yoga in the main room, the main area. And she's fairly relaxed, and yeah, she's actually just gotten done, so now she's sitting and meditating.
Nausicaa comes back from work around, probably arrives home about 8 o'clock. She stays a little later, and obviously getting through rush hour traffic is pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult. Although Nausicaa sometimes takes the subway, and she weirdly sometimes likes the subway because people complain that New York subway is, even though you're surrounded by people, very isolating, and for some reason Nausicaa appreciates, kind of doesn't mind that. But yeah, she comes in, she kind of has a bag over her shoulder and a coat, like dressed exactly almost like conspicuously plainly, like a light blue shirt, grey cardigan, black top. Yeah, she just kind of walks in, sees Julie. Julie is someone Nausicaa has known for a fairly long time now, so she gets an affectionate, well, I say not affectionate at all, but she gets a nod. Just Nausicaa's version of being super friendly.
Yeah, Julie's it doesn't seem, but her eyes are closed and she seems to be doing something like meditating. But after a little while, she hears it. She'll just kind of just ease into it. She'll open her eyes and just say, "Hey, Nausicaa. Hey, how are you? How you doing? Gotten back from work?"
Good evening, Julie. Yeah, I just got back. How
Okay,
are you?
I'm fine. Do you want some? You have you had dinner yet?
I have not eaten, but I will be. I'm gonna call Tito, and he'll bring the truck out front, and I'll order something.
Okay, okay.
Would you like something from them?
Well, actually, I bought some things. I'm gonna make some myself, but uh, lots of lenses and never mind. Do you have a moment?
I could have a moment, sure.
Like, I know we dream every once in a while and stuff, but I don't know. Since you've been here, have you had any like really vivid dreams? A lot more concrete, a lot more well, I don't know. Almost purposeful. I don't know how to describe it, but have you had anything, experienced anything like that? You know, afterwards, like normal dreams, you're like, it's kind of hazy and it's like images or very, very short moments from the dreams.
Nausicaa just looks at Julie and does that thing where she kind of cocks her head, and then she just turns around and walks into her room. And literally, like a minute later, just kind of comes out without her coat and her bag, and just sits cross-legged on the sofa, kind of in front of her. I have had one of those dreams, yes. Do you believe you have?
I think so. It was like a normal day, like before I got here and all that. When I was just minding my own business, just doing what I always do, going to work, and it was in the mall, and there was this woman, you know, something very strange about her, but anyway, this woman was talking about how the pipes were shit and they were probably going to fall if something happened. And She kept saying things like that. I really didn't pay too much attention. And then the fire alarm started, and like there was a fireplace and there was a fire marshal. He wanted us to leave, and I was like, okay. And like there were people trapped under some debris and shit and stuff. I kind of tried to help them out, but I couldn't get them out because I couldn't see where I was going. Because there was all this smoke and fire and stuff. I couldn't really see where they were. And then, like, this woman was there again. She was in the middle of the smoke trying to get me to go, like, further into it, which was weird, but it was almost like pulling me into it. But yeah, it was strange. But then the fire marshal guy and like the others, they just went into another place, and then the ceiling collapsed or something, and they got trapped, and then they came back, and the smoke was everywhere, and then I kind of like felt that the fire closed in on me, and just as I was about to get like real pain from it, I woke up, and like the bitch, the woman, whoever she was, like she was just like shaking her head at me like in disapproval or something. It was weird, but it was really like I don't know, vivid.
And how do you feel now?
Okay. Well, what do you mean about the dream?
About the dream specifically, but also in general.
I feel like I did before, like nothing but like in the dream. I don't know. Maybe a little different. Like it's not fun to be burned alive. She just seems to be a little confused.
What you experienced is a similar effect as to what happened when you awakened. Your avatar has led you on what is called a seeking, in which you seek to reach a higher version of yourself, and more specifically, unlock certain, improve and unlock and increase your enlightenment and your magic potential.
Why doesn't anyone tell me this shit beforehand? Like,
It's in the library.
Grace didn't knew about an avatar, whatever that is, before I did. How come no one? All right,
Also, got a little perplexed. You were not aware of the concept of an avatar.
No. Out of character, I'm quite sure she doesn't, because it's not been mentioned to me or to her, but I might be wrong there. But
I mean, it's kind of basic stuff that would have been taught, but if she had, it means it's up to you. If she hasn't remembered it, then that's cool.
I've already mentioned it like as something she doesn't know in a scene before.
Cool. Kind of fun.
And let's face it, if there is a problem with Julie, one of them should be short-term memory. So yeah.
Nausicaa does look very perplexed. And she kind of, the avatar is part of your soul. It is what many mages believe it gives them their powers.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But like, it leads me on this thing to burn me alive. Like, how does that work? Like, does it mean that my avatar has it in for me, or what?
No, I believe it was seeking to test you. I have experienced a seeking. Would you like to hear it? Maybe it will contextualize your experience.
Sure.
So, I fell asleep at work. It was the last day of my attempt to complete the task Tasha gave me to join the virtual adepts, a task I failed. I had been studying more or less nonstop for a week, and I crashed. I was not feeling very good. I was angry. So, yeah, I fell asleep. Then I woke up to a phone call. It was from my mother. My parents, they live in Philadelphia. And she said that I had to come straight away because Dad was in hospital. So I got a helicopter over and went to the hospital. Once there, I was ushered into a room and I saw my father. I didn't recognize him at first. He was deathly pale, withered, had wires going into his nose, intravenous drips, surrounded by machinery. It was an unpleasant experience, as I'm sure you can imagine. I was told that he had, at most, a couple of months to live. They would be months of pain and suffering. If left unattended, he would have only weeks. He would not be conscious during these weeks. And I was informed by the doctor that if he underwent the treatment, they had suggested that it would be painful and the chance of him surviving would be roughly around 10%.
But that's horrible.
It wasn't pleasant, but I did not believe these experiences are always meant to be enjoyable. After talking to the doctor, an Orthodox priest, my family is Greek, you understand?
Oh, yeah, totally.
An Orthodox priest came to me. He told me that I should give my father over to him, that he was a healer, that he had healed dozens of people. That he would make him better. Needless to say, at first I scoffed at this idea. The concept of faith healing has no basis in scientific reality. However, I talked to them both, and having talked it over with my mother, she said the choice was mine. Now, I believe that before I had awakened, it would have been a no-brainer. Although I am very aware that any kind of treatment my father would likely have a very low chance of working. However, since awakening, I have seen things that I would not have thought possible. I thought in that moment that perhaps Boris or even Lee would have been able to heal him. So when I was given the choice, I chose to give him over to the faith healer.
But what's the point? Like,
at the time, I didn't really know that I was making a decision. But when it happened, after I thought about it, I believe that it was my avatar leading me to show that I now accept there are things I don't understand. And just because I don't understand something doesn't mean that it has no validity. So I chose to do the thing that I would not have done before without my newfound knowledge and understanding. That is what I believe, anyway.
So, the thing given us magic puts us in a horrible situation to test us.
I believe, although there is, from what I've read from accounts, a certain level of stress, I do not believe they are intrinsically horrible. I do not believe that is the reason behind them.
But this is fucking regardless. Like, this sucks.
In what manner do you think it sucks?
We are being hunted. We need, like, help, assistance, you know? And the response from ourselves, whatever that is, still not totally sure what you mean, but it is like, oh, I'm gonna give you potential psychological trauma so you can get better. I don't know about you, but that sounds a little weird.
I believe the intention is to test, to see
Fuck,
if you have
fuck
grown as a person.
tests. Fuck tests. Like, but what is, like, is this avatar like something you can, like, is it just a thing that just gives you these dreams or what? Like,
The avatar is the magical part of your soul. Although they are not explained in too much detail, people believe that they are essentially reborn. The avatar you possess may have been in some form possessed by other mages that have since died. I believe the avatar is the part of us that will ascend, which is something many mages seek to achieve.
so we have to be subjected to weird mental magics to get tortured to get better. You know what? I'm not having it. I'm starting to wish I'd never gotten these. Like, never
I believe the
fucking.
direction and the point is that you are challenged and that you grow. And
Through
regarding that walnut,
nightmares. Through nightmares? Yeah. It's definitely challenging.
those get your shrugs. Or would you prefer?
Like, since it's a part of me that I can control it somehow, like, gauge it somehow, just know its intentions. Like, I suppose it can't talk to me really, but still. Like,
Are you able to control your heartbeat?
no, it's part of the anatomic nervous system. Well, you can slow it down, I suppose, with meditation, but no, you can't control it in that way. But this isn't necessarily like an organ. This is something giving you dreams.
I do not believe that it is working against you in the way you feel. I've experienced one as well. So far, it has only been us three. Do you feel more powerful afterwards?
No, I don't.
This with the disappointed woman, who may well be a representation of your avatar.
What,
May-
that bitch? That bitch in the suit? She's my avatar? Ah,
I don't know.
fuck.
Perhaps.
Just my fucking luck. Something is a part of myself that I can't really recognize in any way. That's just fucking great. Look, I need to clear my head. Like, I need to. And she kind of gets up and goes over and seems to just focus on making some food for the moment. And she's like, Nausicaa, you've seen Julie before, and you like in a different, like when she was brought here first time, she was less chatty after you shot at her, weirdly enough. But you haven't really since then seen her this emotional or unrelaxed. Like, she seems somewhat distraught by this, and it's not always you see her like this. You probably haven't seen her like this before.
Let's go. We'll kind of watch her.
I would enter, but I have no idea where you are.
Common room?
Common room.
Okay.
Literally like the sitcom set that everything takes place in. There's
fair.
one wall doesn't exist and it's a studio audience.
I'm having the weirdest issue after issue. At least you guys can hear me because I can't get my overlay up. But anyway, yeah. It's just, apparently at that whatever moment that was. Grace sort of wanders through, actually. She's basically she has a book in her hand and she kind of heads directly for like a big comfy chair that's in that common room. And she'll kind of like, she'll like wave to both of them as she passes by.
Julia's back is turned. She doesn't really. She'll just, like, there'll be a sound of acknowledgement, like,
Nausicaa is sitting cross-legged on the sofa, just kind of watching Julie. And she looks kind of quizzical. She's like, yeah, looking quizzically at her.
At Julie.
At Julie, yeah.
She's going to pause like mid-step because she was probably just about to that chair. Is everything okay?
I believe Julie is upset and angry. It seems that she has failed her seeking.
What's a seeking?
Apparently, when part of yourself that apparently gives you your magic powers, total cunt. And apparently doesn't help you, just is vague and weird. Like, fuck that. What kind of help from yourself puts you through nightmares to better you? What kind of like island mentality, like gladiatorial death sports, whatever, we're gonna make you better by torturing you shit is this? And you can both tell, like, Julie is even more angry for some reason now.
I do not believe you should use the word torture, Julie. Both me and you have been through torture.
I thought I was being burned alive.
It was a bad dream.
Well, apparently not. Apparently I'm creating it myself.
That might make more sense, actually, if you've been through torture. You have the experience to pull from.
Well, maybe I could dream of, I don't know, maybe I could have a different dream. Maybe if I had torture in myself, like, maybe I could have a dream about Chris Hemsworth massaging me. Like, maybe that could happen because it's myself. But no, I have to be burned alive, of course.
Do you believe, Julie, that this is the essence of your seeking? That you would prefer comfort and not to be challenged? And that discomfort and challenge are perhaps what the essence of your seeking is trying to make you do?
Julie throws the bowl of things she's made through the well, she doesn't throw it at Nausicaa, she just throws it at the wall.
That's right.
And she just says, okay, I'm done. Like, I'll see you guys later. And she walks off. And you can hear the door to her room slamming shut after her.
Nausicaa definitely kind of like starts and sits kind of like bolt upright at the plate being smashed, and just kind of watches her go.
Grace looks thoroughly confused at the whole thing. She doesn't even know what a seeking is. And she'll just kind of look at Nausicaa and be like, I'll try to talk to her later if she'll talk. But maybe she needs some time to cool off.
Maybe. Grace, that time I was not attempting to antagonize her. I admit sometimes I do, but I was not trying to that time. Did I say something inappropriate?
I have no idea. What's a seeking and how, so that I can know if what you said was inappropriate?
A seeking is a moment of enlightenment that essentially strives to bring you closer to ascension, closer to unlocking your full magical potential.
Oh.
It is initiated by a part of you called an avatar. That
I know about. At least a little bit.
there you are then.
I was just explaining to her what an avatar was the other day, which is really weird, because she's been here longer than me.
Marijuana is a memory loss drug. She may have been told and forgotten. It is an affliction of her addiction.
There's a lot worse things out there than marijuana.
Alcohol?
No. Well, yeah, actually. It probably is worse than that if you look at it overall. It depends on how much you use of it, though. A certain amount of alcohol is actually good for you.
Also looks very dubious at this fact.
Look it up. There are studies. It's mostly about wine that I hear it.
Are they peer-reviewed?
I never looked that deeply into it.
Any university that would fund a research center that would fund that kind of study is likely not one I would value its opinion or its research. But either way. Yes, I believe she has experienced a seeking, and by the sounds of it, she may not have achieved the enlightenment that she potentially could have.
It's not like we all don't fail sometimes. I mean, that doesn't mean it's done, right? It just means just to try again, right?
I would not believe it is a case of trying. It is more of an opportunity.
Well, how do you earn the opportunity? Again.
I had mine after I failed to join the virtual adepts tradition. I found the failure very stressful. I pride myself on my academic abilities, and they failed me.
See?
However, in that I found something more meaningful. And I believe that it was, in the long term at least, a good choice for me. I do not know what prompted hers.
But you think
Although
it has something to do with stress?
I don't know. I simply believe it is a fulcrum, a pivotal moment.
Ah. Well, I'm not quite sure what you said either. Not that I didn't hear anything that sounded too wrong to me anyway. Maybe you should explain that to her. You could go knock on her door. It sounded very well closed.
What if she throws something at me?
Then throw something back.
I don't want to throw anything.
Well, she hasn't thrown anything at you yet, right?
No. But she might want to shoot me. I tried to shoot her once.
Yeah, she said that the other day. Why would you try to shoot her?
Because she implied that I was autistic. She called me Rain Man. I'm over it, though. Me and Julie have buried that hatchet.
Not so sure if she brought it up to me the other day. When you get shot at, it's kind of a big deal.
I agree. I have been shot at before. In fact, I was shot at when I attempted to rescue Julie successfully from the Technocratic Union. Not that that excuses what I did. I apologize for it, and I have apologized for it on several occasions.
Fair enough. Then maybe she just needs to figure out how to handle it. But for now, you could at least tell her that you didn't mean to come off the way you did. If you came off that way at all, I don't know.
I wanted to come off exactly how I said it.
Yeah, but it seems she took it a different way.
How do you mean a different way?
Well, by her reaction, clearly something didn't go right there. You don't typically throw breakable things against the wall and then stomp up the stairs.
Counter hypothesis. What I said was very right, and Julie knows it, and she doesn't like that.
Possible. How would you know unless you ask her?
You should ask her.
Why don't we both go do it so you're not pawning off your dirty work on me?
Oscar scowls a little bit. Of course she does. Of course she does. She scowls. And
Grace will just walk over to her. Yeah, she'll kind of offer out a hand. Kind of like, like I'm going to help you off the couch. Not I'm going to hold your hand.
And Oscar just looks at the hand, disgusted and terrified, and just ignores it and stands up and pretends it's not there.
Come on. She tries to hide a grin.
And yeah, Nausicaa will go over to Julie's door.
Apparently Grace right next to her. How awkward.
And as you knock, you can hear this music playing. And there isn't a response when you knock.
After about 3 seconds of knocking and then not being a response, Nausicaa just shrugs and turns to leave.
Grace is going to knock again. She's not going to do anything to her. She'll knock again a little bit louder. Just to be she's actually not hearing it.
The door is not even really closed. It actually just opens a little as you knock, if you knock a little bit louder.
Yeah, that's fair, because it would be a little harder.
Yeah. It's quite clear that the door is slammed, and therefore it's not really closed. Not really.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't lock into
lock
place.
Or whatever, yeah.
Okay. So
inside, you can see Julie sitting with some headphones on. Her back is turned, and she's just sitting.
We shouldn't go.
She doesn't have earphones in because you can hear the music. Never mind.
We shouldn't go into her room without permission. It's rude.
I'm not going to go in. Not without permission, I promise. But the door did open a little bit by accident, so she's going to kind of put her like mouth between whatever space there is, and she'll be like, Julie, we're not going to come in, but can you please come to us, or say please, or just let us come in?
Julie just very quickly turns her head and just looks at you. Or no, she doesn't even do that. She just kind of shrugs. But you can't see her face. She just shrugs. Do whatever you want. There's something about her voice that's a little off.
Can I roll P&E? Would that be involved here?
Yeah, you can do that, sure.
Are we set up anywhere?
But we just have the mage dice roll, I think.
Yeah.
There is only one option to do things.
Okay, I'm just going to call it just so that it's marked as a scene of some sort.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Tell that her voice is kind of like quivering. Maybe she's been crying. Maybe that's what you heard.
She's going to look to Nausicaa, who's probably taken a step or two away at this point, and she's going to be like, she said we could come in if we wanted. And with that, she will actually kind of head in there and...
Yeah, there's, like, you recognize the smell of, like, there is quite a few potted plants. Some quite colorful, almost acid, like acid rock posters, and a fairly hefty smell of ganja, and yeah, a bit messy, but you know, it's still somewhat useful too. Like, it's Julie's place.
Mm-hmm. And she's just going to, like, she's not actually going to touch because I don't know you that well. And that just gets really awkward. But she is going to kind of angle off to the side where she's not directly staring at you. And, you know, so that you're, like, not as in not right in front of your face. And she'll just kind of be like, hey, you okay?
Yeah, I'm perfect. Yeah, I'm totally good. You can tell that she's been crying. She actually has
she was fine.
tears down her face.
Nausicaa, trust me.
If she has tears down her face, Nausicaa is just like frozen up, like emotions. What do I do? And Nausicaa just looks terrified, like at her, almost as if like they've just found, like, I don't know, like a crime scene. She just kind of looks at Grace like, what do we do?
And she'll be like, all right, look. Just wanted to make sure. Because, I mean, I don't think you were mad at Nausicaa. Because you didn't throw anything at her.
She's right. Like, her voice is, you know, not breaking, but it's close-ish. Like, it's on that thing. It's on that borderline between crying and not crying. But she just says she's right.
About what?
I failed. I've been waiting for a good part of my life. Found out what I was good at, and then I get this amazing opportunity, and then I fail. And Then her voice cracks completely over, and she begins to cry once more.
Oh, hell. Yeah,
No,
Grace was trying to stay in that city. She was trying to stay away from the actual touching, but she's going to just go ahead and like attempt, like, put her hand on her shoulder, see if she'll accept that.
She doesn't resist it in any way.
Nausicaa looks terrified and is glancing towards the door like a trapped animal.
Grace will just kind of glance to her. She's at an angle she can kind of see both people.
Yeah.
And she'll just kind of do a tiny little nod and just be like, "It's okay. You don't have to do anything. Just stay in the room." And with that, she'll kind of attempt to sort of gather up Julie, since she didn't really fight. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't really fight the initial touch. She'll attempt to, like, offer her a shoulder to sort of cry on, if that's what she's going to do.
She will just kind of slump into it. Like, she won't, like, throw herself or anything, but she'll just, like, kind of just slide into your shoulder.
That's fine. She'll just put, like, an arm around you so that you kind of, kind of like there's a person here who's trying to be helpful, kind of thing.
And she seems to, well, you can't really tell that she appreciates it, but she does seem to just, like, for the sake of it, this will probably take, like, a couple of minutes before Julie just kind of she begins to collect herself.
Yeah, Grace will try to find, like, some tissues or, the kinds of things you need after a crying jag. If there's a bottle of water, offer it to you. Because it's your bedroom. I have no idea what's there, but...
Yeah, she just says, like, short thanks as you... Thanks. Kind of dries her eyes as best she can. She says,
the really horrible blowing of the nose.
Yeah, that too.
It's really graceless.
Well, grace and refinement is probably not, like, things I would attribute to Julie in the first place, but hey, like, grace.
Trying to take my floor.
No, but Julie will just sit there and she'll just oh. So I'm a failure, but
No, you're not.
thanks.
You just failed once. That's not a failure.
She kind of looks at Nausicaa, looks at you. So it's not a one-time thing?
I mean, I'm no genius at this, but I hope not. It sounds like it's just a stepping stone on the way to being able to do bigger and better things.
Nausicaa, for the last maybe minute or so, has been kind of breathing very heavily, almost like she's kind of like psyching herself up for something. And she essentially then just kind of takes a step closer and puts her hand out and just, like, pats Julie on the head like a dog.
Aww.
Like really, really, really like an alien that's seen something. And just pats her on the head and just says, "Everything's going to be okay." And it's like the most robotic, rehearsed, like, phrase.
Julie slowly turns her head towards Nausicaa and she just says, I know this is weird for you, but thanks, okay? I appreciate it.
Nausicaa just kind of takes a hand away and, yeah, definitely doesn't look Julie in the eye and just kind of mumbles. It's quite all right. But you are correct in your assessment. I do not believe seekings are a one-time thing. I believe they are triggered by fulcrum moments in your life. And in fact, if my seeking taught me anything, it's that failure can be learned from. Do you believe you learned anything?
By tomorrow, I think yes.
By tomorrow?
I just need to calm down and rethink things, certain things. Need to collect my thoughts. I honestly couldn't tell you whether I've learned anything right now because, and she just points to her face. I don't think I really can make that assessment right now. Which normally would be fairly understandable. Maybe not for Nausicaa, but most people would say, okay, she's not really thinking clearly at the moment. Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, Grace kind of gets this.
Julie, there's something I need to ask. You weren't aware of what a seeking was, or an avatar. Can you read?
Yeah, I can.
Nausicaa, it's very obvious that that wasn't kind of a mocking question. Oh, it was.
She was
probably,
genuinely curious,
yeah.
And well, yeah.
There is information on all these topics in the library. If
But
you would
like,
care,
wasn't the library like sentient or something?
yeah.
Kind of, yeah, but not so much anymore. I mean, kind of is still, but not the same.
I heard it changed with the I don't know, opening the portal thing, but like,
It's
I'm not going
bigger.
into a library that has its own mind. You can P&E the both of you.
Sure.
It's not going to throw books at you anymore, is what she says, even as I'm.
Yeah.
If you would like, Julie, I could take you there and I could show you where to study. There's a lot of information there.
It's
Does
bigger.
Robbie want to roll, or does it?
Oh, I rolled. Got one.
Oh, yeah, but like Robbie will roll his 3 dice or whatever. 5 dice. That's a lot. Well,
Yeah, because I have a high perception. Like I'm genuinely really sad that, yeah. And for some reason I have a dot of empathy, which is bullshit.
Yeah, you can both, like, at this stage, putting up much of a subterfuge or anything, you get the clear impression that, oh, the library is different and sentient and weird, is definitely an excuse somehow. That might not be the real reason she doesn't go into that place.
Fair enough. Yeah, Grace will just be like, it's gotten a lot bigger. It's like double the size, and it's got much more useful books now.
I don't know. I'm maybe like, but I've got all these things I need to do with Lee and stuff. But it's really.
And you need to know what a seeking and an avatar are.
Okay.
Also, what is your understanding about the basics of the spheres?
Okay.
And the traditions.
I'll go to the fucking library. She just kind of just.
If you would like help.
She just seems to be annoyed somehow.
If you would like help, then
I know how to read. It's just books were never really my thing because it's so fucking boring. All the shit you had to read in school and stuff, and well, school and me doesn't really get along.
You just haven't found the right books yet.
Well, maybe.
Do you want to get better at this magic thing?
Right. Like I said, I'll come to the fucking stupid. Yeah. She just kind of just gets up almost, and you just say, like, let's go to the fucking. Yeah. She seems, well, not too convincing, but oh well.
If we can get her into a library, that means we can get her some books and she can leave with them. So,
yeah,
Grace will take the win for what it is.
If we're going to the library, I have something to get. And let's go. Wanders off to her room and comes out of her door with a precarious stack of like 12 books balanced in front of her.
Oh, Christ. And are you just taking them like to return them?
Yeah.
Or, okay, let me carry half of those. And she'll like grab the top half of the books.
Sure.
And then I like add her book on top of it because she's still carrying a book around with her.
You essentially, the books are essentially, there's various kind of like literally just like college textbooks on physics. There's a book on essentially like outmoded and kind of like disproven mathematical theories. There's a book called Flatland, and there are several books on classical myth.
Oh God, Flatland. Now I'm flashbacking to Big Bang Theory. Okay.
My
Yeah.
favorable comparison.
I'm sure it
It's
isn't.
an actual book. It's kind of cool.
Oh, I believe it's a real book. But yeah, so that's fine. She's kind of carrying like basically 7 books now. If you had 12, and she'll be like, "Okay, cool, let's go."
Please don't get hit by a book. Please don't get hit by a book.
It doesn't.
Julie just gets into the library and she's just looks around. Right.
Yeah, Grace, upon like getting in there, she'll just kind of look at her and just be like, the spirit said that he's actually like the guardian of the chantry, so he's actually kind of in the whole chantry now, not just the library.
Oh, right. So I just insulted him. Super.
I don't think it's a thing. I don't think hopefully he's got bigger fish to fry than just that. But anyway.
He's like our Phantom. We don't see him, but he's there.
I've seen him. Once. He was sort of a monkey.
So, and Julie just walks over and just begins to find books.
Kind of books you want?
She's looking at, like, didn't know better. You would say that she's looking for the coolest sounding titles. Honestly, that is what's happening.
Nausicaa is actually, she puts her books back and like stamps them and then returns them to shelves.
And oh yeah, like Grace is like following you because she doesn't know where the books go either, so she's just following with it.
There's like a little kind of like trolley, like that you might have in like a kind of like little town library, and Nausicaa is literally just like going from shelf to shelf, almost like she knows exactly where she's going, and basically that picks out about a dozen books, and then just wheels them towards Julie and puts them on a table. You should read all these.
Maybe pick out the most important to start with, like basics of like the same kind of stuff I'm reading, you know, basics of like how magic works, maybe stuff on the traditions. I'm reading stuff on like herbalism because that's something I've always had an interest in. As she holds up her book, which she's still carrying.
Nausicaa just looks through and she brings out what looks like this like leather-bound tome with a pentagram on the front and various kind of Akkadian symbols on the side.
It's probably purple, isn't it? Just like the main book.
Almost certainly. Almost certainly. It's even got Dante on the front, just like that one.
Julie looks as though she has just been like, she's been told that she has to run like 2 marathons in a row. Like, she's just been told that. She just looks at that book and just goes.
Grace gets in front of the door, like between her and the door, so she can't actually run.
If you read all these in a month, I'll buy you a car.
Julie just sits down, kind of sighs, and just opens the first leather-bound tome, begins to read.
Why don't you look at it in smaller sections? Is this one of the ones on the traditions that you grabbed?
This is the basics of sphere magic, as codified by the Hermetic mages in the Renaissance era.
So try maybe a bit of a skimming method to figure out which ones interest you and just read the parts that you like The parts that
don't
the
think
parts
that's
that
going to work. I don't think that's going to work because I'm going to skip the whole book. But
I had
no, I said
when,
skim, not skip.
when I was at university, I had a revision tactic that helped me a lot. You just read the book and remember it.
thanks.
That doesn't really help here. Appreciate it though.
You can see that Julie begins to read, and she just has, like, what was it? Nausicaa. By the looks of it, like, it actually seems that Julie isn't what you would consider a slow reader. Like, either well, you don't get the sense that she's faking that she's reading, but she's actually like. This will probably take like 10, like the next period of time. It seems as though she's fairly fast at reading. It's just that she seems to be challenged when it comes to interest or, well, a willingness to go through with this. But she is doing it.
She's just not an avid reader.
Yeah, or like there's other things she would like to do instead of this, but no.
Nausicaa, after observing this, goes over to and just takes the book and just like slams it shut. You've read the first chapter. In what country was the chantry that began the formalization of the correspondence sphere?
I do not know out of character.
Okay, yeah. I don't know either. But it would have been a tab 18, so Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So okay, let's just pretend hypothetically the answer is Saudi Arabia because I just made this shit up.
Yeah.
Has Julie absorbed it? And just say that's also in that chapter because now she would remember.
She just looks at her and just. It's either present day Oman or Saudi Arabia or something. Like, I don't know if when the borders were drawn up, but like somewhere in that, like Saudi Arabia is the largest country, right? Down there, right?
It is. Good.
So yeah, it's like around there. Like, it has to be, right?
Nausicaa nods. Continue. I'll be asking you questions about the next chapter as well.
Oh, goody. Julie says as she like sighs and just begins to read the next chapter. Actually, I'm gonna roll a thing. Is there a way to use Mind 1 to make one more receptible or better at this?
Okay. Mind 1 can increase your intelligence dots. No joke. So you could just increase your intelligence. Like, you'd have to, I don't know how you would do it. Focusing yourself seems obvious, so perhaps.
You will note, do I have to roll Arete?
It would be an Arete roll, yeah. Difficulty would be 4, but you can make a practice roll. But you have to well, you can't just roll. You have to focus it through something. But yeah, that is a botch.
I botched it anyway, so never mind.
But how was she doing?
You'll see that Julie seems to just give me a second, and she seems to just breathe, and you will hear that there's a bit of a different sound when she breathes. She's obviously doing some sort of breath exercise, but she kind of just rolls her, and she just after a little while she just shakes her head and just blinks a couple of times, and then she just kind of swears and just like says "damn it" or something, and she will just continue reading.
I'm just looking up how much paradox you're going to get.
At least it's only a level 1 effect.
Yeah, I think you'll only get like 2 paradox, which isn't too bad. Where are we?
If that's the case, 2 weeks and it's gone.
Yep. So yeah, I think on botching an arete roll, I don't think you'll backlash, but yeah, you'll essentially have Actually, just let me check. Sorry, because this is actually a rule that I should know.
I think you do backlash, don't you?
I think you may on an actual botch. Actually, now you say it. Casting ability. Tools. Witnesses. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Current degrees of success. Picking up where you left off. Failed rolls, botch rolls. If you botch oh, it's a ritual. Yeah. Okay, you just gain paradox, so you will gain essentially 2 paradox. Yeah, and that's it. There's no backlash intrinsically. So I'd let this tease know and mark it down in your blue book.
I am doing that right now. She just kind of curses to herself, and she just, after a little while, she says, of course, I won't. And she kind of shakes her head.
Other students, when I was studying for my master's, found that study breaks could often help them. Maybe you would like one.
Or a cup of coffee might help too.
Let's get.
You can try again, I believe. Although I believe the difficulty will be +1.
Yeah. Let's get another batch.
You serious?
Oh, I actually succeed this time.
Oh no, yeah, you succeed.
Ooh.
Even with the +1 difficulty. So yeah, essentially, I believe that the rule is you can increase your mental stats by up to the number of successes. So you can increase your intelligence. I don't know what your intelligence currently is.
It is, believe it or not, and there's a reason for this. I don't like. There are certain things that are not disclosed by around and about Julie, but her intelligence is actually a natural 4.
Well, now
Okay.
your intelligence 5, so you're the most intelligent person in the room.
Yep, because Grace is only at 3.
So, I believe, yeah, having a higher intelligence would simply just mean that this is all. Yeah, it's all just a bit easier to understand and absorb. I mean, actually, yeah, you're like genius level intelligence now. Like,
That's what I hinted at when I said before that
yeah,
she doesn't seem to be that slow of a reader. But there are other reasons for her to be the way she is. But yeah, she just sits there. But it's clear that her, well, not discomfort, but just annoyance of this whole thing is like, I have to read these stupid fucking boring books, god damn it. Like it's almost painted on her face as she's sitting there.
So yeah, after you basically finish every chapter, Nausicaa is literally going to like pop quiz you on it. And I believe intelligence 5, you're almost certainly going to remember everything.
And you like, I don't know if it's a surprise as Nausicaa, but
I think it would. Yeah, I think it would have been. I'm totally honest.
Julie just seems to know what was in the book. Or the chapters she's read, but she just says. Yeah, so now I know about these stupid fucking spheres, whatever.
They're stupid, really?
Look.
No, I mean, I don't mean to be a bitch. I'm sorry. I just.
No, it's just like.
They're kind of our bread and butter.
Like, she looks at the next book and she just says, right, challenging, overcoming, right, okay. I got the next book. I'll fucking read this one as well. And she begins to, very reluctantly, like, for this time, like, by now you're getting the sense of, like, a very, like, not necessarily a teenager, maybe even just a child who's been told by their parents that they have to do something. Like, they have to eat their, I don't know, broccoli or something, and it's just this kind of, like, I'm gonna do it, but I don't like it. Like, it's this weird, not even rebellious thing, but just like it's quite petty. You get that sense. And she begins to read the next book.
Yeah, Nausicaa basically just kind of watches her do it. While you're doing it, she actually pulls out a notebook and appears to be working on kind of own stuff. But yeah, after every chapter, she'll kind of like give it a quick skim herself. Nausicaa has read this book and she has eidetic memory, so I believe with a quick refresher, she can probably remember most of it. And yeah, we'll give you a pop quiz, and likely you keep doing pretty well. You may not get every single question, but you probably get a lot of them with intelligence 5.
Grace during this time was probably reading her own book. She has more books up in her room. It's just she wasn't going to carry all of them around. So yeah, she's kind of just reading it. Yeah, she was kind of basically going over this herbalism book and probably went and returned it actually after a bit to get another one.
Nausicaa starts, she actually asks Grace some questions that Grace probably doesn't think are actually in the book. Like, kind of like trick questions.
You mean in the herbalism book?
Sorry, not Grace, Julie. I don't know why, but this last month I keep fucking...
Everybody keeps calling me Chloe, so it's fine.
So yeah, she'll ask some questions to try and catch Julie out.
Yeah, she'll probably get most of them. Like, there'll be a couple that will just swing and a miss, but like, I don't know about Nausicaa, but this is probably not what Nausicaa expects, that Julie actually does kind of absorb the information.
No, Nausicaa does absolutely not expect this. She actually looks increasingly kind of impressed. Like, this is also like not just like, it's not just like this is something Julie's apparently quite good at. It's also like, I mean, I don't know what your academic score is, but it's also like completely something Nausicaa values. So yeah, Nausicaa does look impressed.
Her academics is a good and solid 1, so yeah.
So she might be a little rusty, but she's got the kind of raw brain power to rock this shit. But yeah, Nausicaa looks very impressed.
Okay, now I need some. Julie just stops as she thinks of the plate she just smashed. Just like, I need some coffee or something. Any of you guys want a coffee?
Yeah, actually, I would like some coffee.
Julie will go in, begin to boil some water.
Nausicaa just kind of watches her go and then says to Grace, You wouldn't believe it from the way she acts, but I believe she actually is perhaps fairly talented for academia.
She is her own person. Maybe she just learns differently. Some people do. But, yeah, I mean, the books are definitely the easiest way to learn this stuff.
It's giving you a solid basis in theory so that you can turn it into practical.
Exactly. I was I mean, in the end, you don't have to know everything about, say, the choristers, but if you at least know who they are and the basics of what they do, that's probably a good thing.
Likely, I haven't met one.
Me neither, but they were just an example.
Their whole paradigm and belief seems outmoded to me.
I can see a little bit of the merit of it, but I think their thinking is too limited for me.
They're looking for an easy answer to a difficult question. However, we're not in a theology debate.
Julie comes in with one of those stample pots where you just press down with the grinded coffee.
French press?
French press. That's
Very fancy.
and she just puts it and just pours some coffee for in 3 cups, and just she just seems a little too pissed. No, like petulant, I think is the word. Petulant or just a little too I'm rightfully mad at things. Even though she might not be, as she just takes it and just doesn't seem to put either cream or sugar or anything. It's just black coffee, and she just drinks it. Just
Julie,
looks at the 3rd book and just sighs very heavily as she opens it.
what level of education do you possess?
Well, I got out of high school.
How did you feel you did at high school?
Believe it or not, I was higher. I smoked more of that back then than I do now. I couldn't tell really what happened, but well, at the time I wouldn't be able to smell if my hair caught fire. She just kind of just shrugs.
Oscar just kind of looks and then gestures to the new book.
You're doing really well, Julie.
Yeah, I know, positive reinforcement and all that. Yeah, I know. I'm doing great.
You're not just some experiment, though. Like, yeah, okay, it's positive reinforcement. I'm not going to deny that. But you should also hear that you're doing well because you are doing well. You're a person, not just some experiment.
Yeah, well.
Also, one day, if you get better at magic, you might be able to save my life, and I would like that.
Grace almost spits out her coffee.
And Julie just, like, she's fighting it. She's fighting it, but there is a smile, just like when a petulant child is angry, and you actually tell a good joke, and she just
Yes.
fights that smile, and she just kind of just curses at herself, and she just says, like, seems to be working, Nausicaa, with the humor thing where I taught you.
Nausicaa just blinks.
That was funny, but
That was no.
Why?
I don't think she was going for funny though.
I know, but
That's why it was funny though.
hey, whatever works, right? Doesn't matter how you get there. I'd like that too.
Have you made those coffees Scottish? Because you appear to be intoxicated. You're not making sense.
I think you mean Irish.
It's black coffee with nothing in it. There's sugar and there's cream. I don't feel like drinking right now.
You can
Nausicaa-
smell it. There's no alcohol in these coffees.
Nausicaa looks at Grace with a kind of look of like I'm quite sure it is Scott, and obviously it's not. But yeah, she doesn't.
Grace just looks back at her. She's just like, well, she's quite sure of herself on this one. I don't think you realized just how funny that was, but it was funny. Only the thought of the library deciding to come back to life and be mad at me because it got coffee stains on its books kept me from spitting that out.
That is a solid motivation. We don't know how it would react.
Yeah.
Also, many of these books are very valuable.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Nausicaa just completely looks like she doesn't really understand. Yeah. You should continue with your studies.
I am grateful that the new part opened, because before there was stuff and it was useful, but not nearly as useful as the new part.
I've not looked overly in the new part. I'm going to work through this part first before I start over there.
I'm picking and choosing the things I need to know. And she's kind of tilt her head though and just be like, before the library changed to full access, weirdly enough, I mean, I kind of looked over the way the books were set up, and I mean, it's all set up very oddly, but there's I guess the point is that while it had a lot of books on a variety of subjects that are potentially useful to us in terms of inspiring our magic, it didn't have anything that was actually about magic. That's kind of the take I got from looking over it from before. And admittedly, I haven't been around the library as long as you were, but that's what I got from my first introduction.
I haven't really been in here, so I don't know.
Well, I was in here when I got hit. Well, it tried to hit me with Anna Karenina.
That's the reason I stayed away. Wow. Yeah, it was the reason I stayed away. Well, yeah.
Well, I knew it was coming, so I was able to dodge. People warned me.
Is the real reason you were staying away because you're afraid to challenge yourself in case you fail?
Grace watches that response. That's actually a really good question.
I guess that's part of it. I also ran away from home when I was 16, 17, really. And going to school and studying in a very prestigious and expensive school that my parents sent me to resulted in a lot of sitting at home and reading books and not being able to go outside and play with people. And it got to me, and I fucking hated it, and now I'm sitting here doing the same. Reading inside and studying haven't had the best track record with me. Let's just say that. My parents were not so much up on the love and hugs and stuff, more on the you have to succeed and be the best, and you have to read all the time, and you cannot have a social life, and you cannot smoke anything you want or do anything you want. So, yeah. I said, fuck them, and I ran away. She kind of just shrugs.
Also, it looks like she might have quite liked Julie's parents. But there's also a look of Nausicaa's face that she kind of like looks a bit weirded out that there may have been a point in life when her and Julie were kind of similar, and they just both chose like the opposite path.
But you are right. There's probably a part of it that's a long story. But probably there's part of it that's probably that. Sure. Well, sometimes I do smoke a bit too much ganja, and I don't really have a lot of initiative to do things, but that's part of it too, I suppose.
What would we like to achieve long term?
Sorry, what?
What would you like to achieve long term? For example, Grace her wishes to set up a women's shelter. Caleb wants to make a meditation retreat.
I want to make humanity stop destroying the planet. I want people to understand each other.
Do you think those goals are so ambitious and high and mighty that you would never really have to attempt to achieve them?
She kind of looks a little bit annoyed at Nausicaa and just, would you stop that, please?
I think it was a sincere question. At least I took it that way.
But one can only accept and deal with so many limitations, self-imposed limitations to one's goals in life at a time before one starts to become annoyed. She says as she looks at Grace.
Okay. I will take your point.
Thanks.
There's no reason why you shouldn't drink.
Puts her face more or less down in the book. Not really, but she seems to just focus on the book for now.
The only thing she did add was she was just like, okay, there's no reason why you shouldn't dream. Just think in small steps, though. But that's probably a lot easier than the one big goal.
Yeah, I do want to shoot that doctor in the face. The guy that kidnapped us. That I would like.
I do not believe that is an overly ambitious goal. If we all work together, we could achieve that.
Well, still, it would make me feel quite a lot better, actually.
But certainly, having a short-term goal. For example, if you would ask me my long-term goal, it would be able to discover the face of God and rip it off and see how it works. Short-term, though, I want to join the Hermetic Order, improve my skills, and run a successful business.
Right. Still working on... And she just pauses. I'll just read this book.
I believe that may be a good start.
Yeah.
By reading the books, you work towards being able to get to your goals. Even if it sucks now, it'll be good later.
Okay, we'll have to just keep telling myself that, I suppose.
And drink.
Oh, it's reading time. She just says that she just to be well. She just wants this talk to end somehow. For some reason, she just.
Grace just nods. She's kind of gotten to understand Julie and some of her limits. Even with just one conversation or two. This is a total of a second, I think. She kind of gets it. And she'll sort of turn back towards her book. Like she's
And-
reading at a much slower pace, but she's also probably showing more interest in.
Also, at this point, pulls out several kind of large pieces of paper she's got, and on the other side of the table from Julie spreads out these pieces of paper. Each one of them is just literally covered in mathematical formula in what's seeming kind of like a very chaotic manner. And yeah, she basically kind of goes from piece to piece and just kind of messes around with it all. And yeah, we could probably end the scene there. The three girls settle in.
Studying various different things. I do believe that the scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing, and watchers for watching. Good day or good night.